You write in your piece, yes, that it looks like a good Democratic year, and yes, the Democrats should take the House, and yes, they may take the Senate, but not so fast. There still are some fairly large caveats. Tell us about them.
Yeah, but let me, Joe, flip that around a little. I love my headline writers at Bloomberg Opinion, but the reason I wrote the piece was because the atmosphere has changed such that the Senate is actually on the table, where 3 months ago it wasn't. On the eve of the Iran war, it really wasn't, because the Republicans have such a favorable map. And, you know, over the last 10 years, politics has become really balkanized and polarized. In 2018, if you'll recall, Democrats win a 40-seat sweep in the House. They actually pick up some swing seats in the Senate, but Republicans' majority grew by 2 seats because they were able to pick up some seats in red states. So even though the president wasn't doing well in red states, he was doing just fine. And that's how this election was unfolding. Democrats looking very good in the House, still do. Republicans looking very good in the Senate, except for a couple of places. And what we are beginning to detect in my conversations with Republicans, who would, to be clear, prefer this doesn't happen, is that the playing field on the Senate map is becoming perilous for Republicans. Now, the reason why Democrats shouldn't jump for joy is because if they're going to have a good election on the Senate side, it's going to be in defined red territory. Once you get outside of Maine and North Carolina, they're going to have to make gains in places like Iowa and Ohio and places like that. And that's where Republicans continue to do pretty well. Very well.
So David, let me interrupt you there. Let's also talk about Alaska for a second, because there's a very compelling candidate out there. And again, Alaska usually doesn't go blue, but you have a compelling candidate out there that has Democrats believing. And then, of course, Talarico, if he gets Ken Paxton, Democrats think that though many of us still consider Texas fool's gold, at least for another 4 to 8 years, there are many people who believe those states may also be in play.
So I think Texas will be contested, but you're just going to have to get me to be wrong one cycle for Democrats to win that place. Right? I'm just going to be wrong. It's just going to happen. Yeah. And even if Ken Paxton beats John Cornyn, which I would say at this point is more likely than not, I still think Talarico falls short there. But again, you're just going to have to get me to be wrong. Alaska is super interesting. I've been talking to Republicans who know Alaska well for the past few months. They've been concerned about Alaska going back to last year. And Mary Peltola, former congresswoman in Alaska, and of course it's a statewide position because they haven't had large congressional seat there. And people are extremely worried about Senator Sullivan. His voting record on the floor of the Senate started to reflect that he knows he has a real dogfight. But again, it's one of those places where Democrats are playing in red territory. But let's get back to the whole premise of my piece. As Mitch McConnell, the former Republican majority leader, outgoing senator from Kentucky, told me in 2018, the map doesn't win elections. The atmosphere is not irrelevant. One other thing McConnell used to tell me, forget Labor Day, voters' opinions in these midterm contests tend to harden around June. That's when he was chairman of the NRSC, when he was leading his conference, he didn't target Labor Day as that's how much time he has to change the narrative. He looked at June. Once he got past June, it was what it was.